For today's lesson, we will be solving problems involving percent increase and decrease. And the standards that we will be addressing today are 6RP3C and 7RP3. So our first example here, Mr. Sato sells fish at a 60% markup. He pays $3.75 per pound for haddock. 1 week, at what price per pound will he sell it? Okay, so a markup means how much more is he going to charge for the item that he sells. So it's 60% of the $3.75. So we'll use a decimal here. And 0.6 is the decimal equivalent for 60%. So we'll do our multiplication here. Put in our decimal point, and we would find that the markup is $2.25. Excuse me. And since that's the markup, you take what he pays for it, which is $3.75, add the $2.25 to it, and you'd get an answer of $6. At a post office, the weight of the mail at 10 a.m. was 80 pounds. 2 hours later, the weight of the mail had increased by 30%. We want to find the weight of the mail at noon. So we're going to do similar to what we did in our previous example. We're going to start by taking 30% of 80, and we find that that's 24. That is not the weight of the mail. That's how much the mail had increased by. We're going to take 80 plus 24 to get 104 pounds. And then our second one here, the price of a new car was $22,800 in April. However, the price of the car was reduced by 5% in May. Find the price in May. So we could take 5% of 22,800, and we could use a fraction. We don't have to use a decimal. We can use a fraction as well. So 100 has 2 zeros, so I can take off 2 zeros of the 22,800. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 is 14. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So that would give me $1,140. Now again, that is not the price that you would be paying for the car. That is how much the car is reduced. And since it's reduced, we want to take our original and we want to subtract because we're reducing the price. And we would get a selling price of $21,660. So our next example here, William had a length of brass chain. He uses 30% of the chain to make some necklaces. The remaining length of brass chain was 385 centimeters long. He then used 25% of the remaining chain to make some keychains. So what was the original length of the brass chain? Well, this is a perfect one for our equation of total times percent equals part. Excuse me. And since we're looking for the original length of the brass chain, that would of course be our total. So we don't know what that is, so we'll keep the total as our variable t. It then says he used 30% of the chain, but the remaining length was 385. Well, if he uses 30%, that 30% is going to be gone. And so if he uses 30%, he would have 70% left, which would be the 385 centimeters. So we would divide both sides by 70%. That would be 385 divided by 70 over 100. Keep times turn. Seven becomes 1. 385 becomes 55. 55 times 10 is 550 centimeters. Excuse me. Part B, same thing, we will use total times percent equals part. It says he then used 25% of the remaining chain. And we want to know what was the remaining length of the brass chain after making the keychains. So our total now is 385 centimeters because that is the remaining length at the start. And if he uses 25%, and we want to figure out how much he has after making the keychains, well, if he uses 25%, he would have 75% left, which would equal the part. Let's scroll this up a little bit so I have a little more room. So we know that 385 times, and we should know that 3/4 is the fractional equivalent to 75%. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 8 is 24, plus 1 is 25. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. And 4 times 1 is 4. 4 would go into 11 twice. 2 times 4 is 8. 11 minus 8 is 3. 4 goes into 35 8 times. 8 times 4 is 32. 35 minus 32 is 3. 4 would go into 35 8 more times. 8 times 4 is 32. 35 minus 32 is 3. So we get 288 3/4, or 288.75 centimeters. And our final one for today. One Friday, a restaurant received enough orange juice for a week. After the weekend, the restaurant's orange juice supply had decreased by 24% to 76 quarts. After Monday, the supply had further decreased by 20%. So again, total times percent equals part. If we want to know the original amount of orange juice received, that's our total. Since it had decreased by 24%, that 24% is gone. So we would have 76% left, which equals 76 quarts. I can only imagine what our total is going to be. Once again, divide both sides by 76%. So that would be 76 over 1 divided by 76 over 100. Keep times turn. The 76's cancel out, and you would get 100 quarts. So for part B, how much orange juice was left after Monday? Once again, we're going to use total times percent equals part. Well, our new total is 76. It decreased by 20%. That means we would have 80% left. And let's use a decimal this time. So 76 times 0.8. 8 times 6 is 48. Excuse me. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 4 is 60. We need one digit after the decimal point. So 60.8. Or if you did a fraction, you could get 60 4/5 quarts. And that is all for today's lesson. As always, I hope this helps.